Hey guys, today I wanted to talk about AI, artificial intelligence. I've been reading this book. It's called The War on Normal People by Andrew Yang. If you haven't read it, totally recommend you read it. It's pretty new. I heard about him through the Joe Rogan podcast. And that book talks about like artificial intelligence and its role now and in the near future. So every 18 months, artificial intelligence and computing power doubles. So it's 2019 June now. And so think about a year and a half ago, our computer power and our artificial intelligence power was half. So imagine what it is now and what it's going to be in 18 months from now. So getting into this, why is artificial intelligence and what's happening with it important? Well, as artificial intelligence gets smarter and smarter, they're basically replacing our traditional jobs. Jobs that are getting replaced now, like for example, my painting company, you would go door to door, like knocking on doors trying to sell jobs. Google AdWords, Facebook advertising, home stars, Google reviews, that stuff online has, for a lot of it, replaced going door to door sales. You can still do door to door sales and get results, but it's sort of replaced a job. Now, there are some people that are managing those Google AdWords, and that replaces some jobs, but there is definitely more people doing door to door than there is for someone, say, managing a Google AdWords account. Some things that are going to be replaced in the very near future and that are obvious. Well, self-driving trucks is going to be like a massive one, and they predict that's happening in 2020, which is basically a year away. And they're going to start basically cutting the truck driver from actually driving, and they'll just sit there to be safe like they do for pilots. And then eventually they'll get it that maybe there'll be like a fleet of trucks driving together, and the first truck will have a human, and then the other trucks will just follow behind as robots, and then maybe eventually even just getting rid of humans completely. And I think there's 3 million people or something in America working as truck drivers. It's the biggest employer in the United States. So that's going to be a lot of people that are going to need to retrain their jobs or just not have work. I was getting shawarma today, and there was a kid behind the counter, and I was just talking to him. He's just graduated high school, I guess, like yesterday, and he's not sure what he's going to do next and stuff. Just like after reading this book, just thinking about artificial intelligence and like how our jobs that we have today or even had before are going to be completely different, and we need to act differently in order to be successful. Another one that's going to get replaced is basically call centers. So if you like call a company and their customer service person comes on the line, it's basically going to be Google Assistant that like will talk to you as an actual person in a voice, and like you won't be able to tell the difference. That will completely take out another industry. They were saying in the book something like, so I think what used to be like 20% of Stanford students would study in the arts. Now it's down to like 6%. And like, so young people are catching on and starting to study computers and that kind of stuff. Whereas before, my generation, you're just told to study whatever you want. But that was at a time, even 10 years ago, where artificial intelligence wasn't a reality of like, these computers are literally smarter than humans. And right now, maybe those computers are smart at some tasks more than humans, but not at others. Where now is with artificial intelligence becoming that computers are just going to be smarter, period, than humans. And we need to adapt to that. I remember just like through my travels and thinking in some of these third world countries where a lot of people didn't speak English and like didn't have a lot of money. It's like if I lived here as a local, what I would do is I would learn English, and I would go online and talk to tourists and see the things that they want to do the most, and then basically provide private service tours for these people when they come to my country, so I can make 5, 6, 7, 20 times more money than the average person, because I have that special advantage of being able to communicate with the tourists. In terms of artificial intelligence, there's going to be people who lose a ton of jobs, but there'll also be tons of opportunity to use artificial intelligence to work for you if you can create a business, if you can create a business pretty much. So for example, if I have a duck cleaning business, and if for my call center, traditionally I would have to answer the phone 24/7, but now, hey Google Assistant, someone's calling, book me a job. And I don't have to pay anyone to do that. I just have to pay whatever the fee on Google Assistant is, which is going to be a lot cheaper than hiring a human, at least for now. So that would be something to do. And I think another way to like help the transition of our whole world into artificial intelligence is volunteering and like legitimately helping your community. Some off the top of my head, become a big brother in your community. Write a blog post for Young Men's Mentoring for me, just to share some information to help young men, and just do stuff for like people in your neighborhood and like help, like go be a tutor at the local school or teach kids at the local school about entrepreneurship and different options out there, because basically traditional school has very little relevance with what's going on in our world today. In school they teach you nothing about taxes, nothing about business. They teach you about Shakespeare and molecules and the periodic charts and stuff, which it's cool to know that stuff, but like it doesn't mean it doesn't mean anything, and you can look everything up online now. So schools still exist and most people still go to them, but maybe go volunteer at your school and like teach these kids who don't know about the world because they're in these boxes. Teach them stuff, become their mentors. That'd be like a huge one, and just build a strong network so you can survive in the future. What he talks about in the book is that there's and it's already happening, there's big mega cities that are being created where all the rich and quote unquote smart people are moving to, that are technology focused. So like San Francisco, New York City, Boston, Massachusetts, Miami, Chicago, Los Angeles. And so you have all these people moving there and creating like super wealthy areas and communities, but then you have these other places in the country in America, and same thing in Canada. In Canada would be Vancouver, Toronto, and then other areas are sort of losing it. It's called brain drain. So if you're in Vancouver, Toronto, or San Francisco or wherever, that's cool, but maybe just travel a bit out of your community and help people on the outskirts that don't have these advantages. Because even if, like, say for example you're winning, so you're making good money and you're fine, if your whole community, your whole country, and your whole world's not winning together, you then have to worry about things like security, so people robbing you, people getting angry, mass shootings that are happening everywhere. And it's not really winning. You only win when everyone's winning. If you're just up in your castle alone, it's no fun, right? And so yeah, those are some thoughts. Maybe just if you're just finishing high school, you're trying to figure out what to do, maybe read that book and take into consideration what are careers, what are jobs going to look like in the future. A lot of people won't even have jobs. Thinking about that, he talks about like basically our world is one big farm, where all these cities are like, we're a farm pretty much for an economy, where like the cows eat the grass and provide the meat. That could be like the construction workers or whatever, and then you have just different animals on the farm do different things. And so like back in the day when people would ride around horses because cars weren't around, there were tons of horses everywhere. And then when the cars came out, they basically started slaughtering the horses because they couldn't afford to feed them and they weren't useful anymore. And it's really critical that we stay useful and relevant as humans, because AI is coming, and you can write this off as crazy or whatever, but yeah, start thinking about what life is going to look like with AI and how we can all stay relevant and help your local community. And comment down here if you have any ideas of moving forward and how we can do it. That's why I want to start Young Men's Mentoring Farm, to grow our own food and like do these things that like the Amish do, where they don't use a ton of technology, if at all, and they're doing great. So the reason this AI is coming so quick is our economy is based on capitalism, and capitalism is always progress, progress, progress. And eventually we're gonna build ourselves out of a job, and we'll see how AI does with the economy. Maybe they'll give us free money or something, and we'll tax the robots. That has been an idea around for a long time, so that's probably what's gonna happen. But anyways, that's my little rant on AI. Would love to hear your thoughts. Comment, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think. Thanks for listening, guys. See ya.